So as we dive back into Romans this year and we re-engage with Paul, one of the things that's really important to have as a base for interacting with Paul, particularly in Romans when he starts talking about this idea of God choosing or electing or predestining certain people, is to realize that Paul experiences the world in a fundamentally different way than we do in our hyper-individualistic society. Paul experiences the world as a person who is part of a group of people. He's part of a community, a tribe. He experiences the world through that collective experience of what it means to be human. And this means that when Paul talks about those who are chosen or those who are elect, this is not Paul saying this person is chosen and this person is not. This person is loved and that person isn't. What this is Paul doing is Paul talking about how God has chosen the Jewish people, and now God has elected all of those who are outside of the Jewish people. This is about God choosing to invite groups of people, and eventually all groups of people, into an experience of relationship with God. And that's really important. That doesn't mean that we can't reject God. It doesn't mean that we can't choose to be outside of God's choice and God's offer. But what it means is that Paul is fundamentally seeing the world through a different lens than us. Paul sees the world through a collective experience. And this is actually part of what we are invited into in the Christian story, is to see ourselves not just as individuals who either love God or don't, but as people who are part of communities who are encountering God with each other, through each other, as part of a collective experience of the sacred divine now choosing us. And so as you imagine yourself choosing God, as you imagine yourself being chosen by God, you should do that in the sense of who are the people around you, who you are experiencing God with and you are experiencing God through. This will actually get you much closer to what Paul is talking about when he engages us with these ideas in the book of Romans.